someone, when you're having a conversation with someone, you are opening up a portal, okay? You're opening up a portal. When you have a conversation with someone, you're opening up a portal with them. And what that means is you're giving them a window to think about you. Think about it like this. What do you think about? You think about what's in your environment, okay? So if someone's in your environment, say your friends, family, your roommates, right? You have a portal open with them energetically to where they can think about you at any time. Therefore, they can send you energy. This is important that if you're in an environment with people, that if you maintain a harmonic environment, then you're going to be getting sent love all the time. And of course, whatever you feel, you're going to give out. And this is why it's important to realize when you love someone else, you're getting that back because you've opened up that portal between you and that person. And when they receive love from you, they're going to naturally think the frequency of love when they think of you. And that's going to be sent back to you automatically, whether you want it to or not, whether they want it to or not, right? Just think about it. Like if you're going about your day and nothing, something happened, whatever, like think about it like this. Someone pissed you off, okay? Someone pissed you off. They triggered you, okay? Later on in the day, you're probably having unconscious thoughts about that person. And guess what? They are getting that frequency. Okay, that's why it's important to pay attention to what you're giving out. Okay, it's not always about, oh yeah, if you do something bad, the universe is going to give you back a bad circumstance. Yeah, that may be true, but also realize the people you're involving yourself with and how you are involving yourself with them, how you're treating them. Okay, because not only karmically speaking, you probably get a situation, circumstance, event that matches the frequency you're sending out. Yes, that's true also, but also realize that the person, the individual, can be sending you psychic attacks as well. Okay, so if you send people, so pretty much the way to beat this whole system is just to send love out to everyone, to just love everyone, because then at that point, when people think about you, they're going to think about love, and therefore they're sending you love. Okay, so to be even more specific with this, however you want to feel about you, whatever you want to feel, you send that out to other people. Energetically, they're going to pick that frequency up, and at any point in time in their life, okay, the way this works is you usually remember people off of the first impression and how you left them, okay? So you could have a shitty interaction in between, but it's how you end it is so important, okay? So let's say you had a fight with someone, you had an argument with someone, never ended off on a bad note. Why? Because they are sending you thought forms that are in alignment with that frequency. So what you want to do, always end it on a good note. Have you ever heard that song by what's his name, Neo, right? I don't want to go to bed mad at you. I don't want to. Why? Why does he not want to go to bed mad at you? Because if he goes to bed mad at you, then he's thinking thoughts at you. He's sending you those thought forms. You're receiving those thought forms, and now you're going to think those thought forms back at him, and it's a cycle, right? There's an energetic cord between person to person. There's energetic cords between person to person as well, okay? So realize that. Realize that as well. And one way you can cleanse up the energetic cord between you and another person is called Ho'oponopono. Ho'oponopono. And basically what you do is you think about you put the person that you're thinking about, you put their image in your head, and you send them energy consciously by saying, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. And you're sending them that energy. And now what's going to happen is they're going to receive that, and the next time they think about you, that energetic cord is now healed, which means that now the frequency of that energetic cord is now more or less purified, okay? And it helps cleanse up that energetic cord, okay? So, yeah, that's pretty much how that works, when it comes to sending and receiving thoughts. Now, when someone is now, okay, now this is important as well. I think a lot of times we have experienced things from our past. My beard, I need to shave my beard, holy shit. We experience things from the past, and what we do is we bring that thought pattern will come up, okay? And we have this thing called, what I like to call past triggering events. They're basically events. How do I explain this? I don't have a word for this yet. Basically, something happens in your life today that reminds you of something that happened in the past, okay? And that event triggers your thought pattern or neural pathway that's associated with that past event. So it kind of construes your perception in that moment by essentially bringing up that old neural pathway. And what it makes us do unconsciously is we judge things based off of our experience of it instead of being neutral. And it's important to be neutral when we're dealing with people. We got to understand that We need to see them neutrally. However they present themselves in that moment is what you take, okay? And I think a lot of times unconsciously, I know I've experienced this in my own life, when you have a conversation with someone, let's say it's someone that you have recurring conversations with, right? When you have a conversation with them, a lot of times we pick up the call. We call them with an expectation of how we think they're going to show up, right? We expect people to stay how they were, stay true to the past self of them. But we're evolving very rapidly, and people are reinventing themselves very quickly. So it's important to realize that it's not about who you think they are. Call them neutrally and just see whatever energy they give you. Don't call them and expect them to show up a certain way, or expect them to be how you remember them as. Like let's say, for example, you have an old high school friend, okay? It may be 5 years since you've been in high school. And what happens is you have a call with them, and you're expecting them to stay the same as they were, and they're expecting you to stay the same as you were. But in reality, you're all different people. But I think what happens a lot of times when you're involved with these people, now for some reason we try to be like how we used to be. And I think it's because energetically, our association with that person, it has a vibration to it, and that vibration resonates with you because there's a part of you on another timeline that's in that vibration in that moment, because past, present, future are all happening simultaneously. So basically that physical event that's happened in the past is also happening now, and you basically tap into that vibration. That's how memory works, okay? Because think about what even is memory. It's just a frequency, an image, and a feeling, that you get tapped into, maybe even a state. And you can tap into these frequencies within your mind, either way. So I think it's important we realize this. Now, when it comes to future events, it works kind of similar the same way, because depending on the because all possibilities exist, right? So the vibration and frequency you are on in this moment now, you can go within your third eye and look into the future timeline that is in alignment with that frequency, okay? And basically, it doesn't mean that is automatically going to be the future. What it does mean is, with you staying on that timeline or that vibration or that sequence, then that will be what happens, or that will be a potentiality of what happens, because there's infinite possibilities. It just depends on which timeline we're shifting into, individually and collectively as well, okay? But realize that you can tap into the future. That's how we have, it's what a download is. I mean, if you think about it, like, what's a download, right? You're getting information from source. You're getting information from your higher self. You're getting information from your spirit guides, which are kind of all the same thing, right? It's kind of pretty much all the same thing, depending on, words are just labels for vibrations, okay? We're all pretty much talking about the same thing, but basically, when you get a download, it's of the future, and the reason why you have access to it is because you're tapping into the vibration. And when you're in the fifth dimension and above, there's no longer time. So you're basically just in the now, experiencing whatever's on the vibration of you. Because you are connected to everything, you have access to everything, okay? And because you are connected to everything and have access to everything, for you to get access, you must become nothing, okay? Now, what limits us as human beings is who we think we are. Because when we think we are someone, we then live in that mirror or in that box, okay? That's what a self-identity is. A self-identity is a box of reality, of how we view reality, of how we view ourselves, of how we view, what's going to happen in our life and what we think we can do. That's all based around our perception, which is pretty much a box. And that box is based on your belief systems. And for you to remember who you are, you must first forget who you are, if that makes sense. For you to remember who you truly are, which is infinite possibility, which is the God particle, which is oneness, which is nothing, which is everything. For you to remember that, you must forget who you are on this planet. You must forget the identity. You must forget the human body. You must forget you have a face, a name, a body, a family, a friend. You're in honor. You have to forget you're on earth. And once you can get to that place, in that void, now you have access to all possibilities. Right, we can call this the Akashic Records. Now you're in dimensions, 8, dimension 8, 9, 10, or what? I don't know, dude. These are just words. But, like, once you're up there, once you're in those realms, now you have access and you can see things play out. Okay, and I think this is probably how ETs connect with us. You've seen a lot of, just do some research if you haven't seen it before, but a lot of people channeling ETs telepathically. And the reason is because a lot of ETs, from what I've seen on my research, is that ETs are extraterrestrials, which means they're basically living in another planetary system. They're beings just like us, because we're all coming from the same source. Everything came from nothing, which is the source, which is the God particle, which is the one dot. And that dot combusted and exploded into infinite possibilities, okay? That's my perspective. And pretty much all planetary systems, universes, parallel realities exist within that dot from that perspective. But since it's expanding, that means the earth is expanding. That means the human beings are expanding. That means beings in other realms are also expanding. So with that being said, beings that are communicating telepathically, what's happening is they've evolved to the point where they can do that. And since they're operating in a standpoint of that dimension, now they can tap into dimensions they can tap into realms that they can experience other planets within their own consciousness, And I think that's how they're channeling. I think that's how they're actually telepathically communicating with us or with whoever they're telepathically communicating with, okay? Because they're tapping into that dimension. And within different dimensions, it just depends on what dimension you're in, because you got to think about it. Because one perspective of dimensions I saw was on Gaia from Matthias. And pretty much the way he explained it was that that the first dimension holds all other dimensions. So pretty much the first dimension is thought, right? It's mentalism. That's the crown chakra. That's oneness and nothingness. That's the void. It's the beginning of everything and the end of everything. It contains everything within it. It contains everything within it. And we're just I heard this quote, right? It said that a human is God asleep. And God is a human awake. Yeah. A human is God asleep, and a God is a human awake. That's powerful. That's powerful when you really, really think about that. Really think about that. Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? Because, just my dog Nova. Who do you think you are, man? That's my question for you. Who do you think you actually are? Because whether the great Henry Ford once said, whether you think you can or you think you can't, either way you're right. What did Shakespeare say? Nothing is good or bad, but thinking makes it so. Nothing is good or bad, but thinking makes it so. Look, man, that's my TED Talk for the day, man. They should probably put me on a TED Talk, right? That's my speech. That was my message for today. I had that download. I had to share it. It's interesting how these downloads work, right? They're like, you get this piece of information, and it's going to be a whole video. Even though it only started with one thought, you can just feel that it's coming out. It's about to come out. And that's how I've been kind of making some of these videos recently. But anyway, man. Instagram, Infinite Abundance 777. TikTok, Infinite Abundance 777. Infinite Abundance 777. My Telegram is t.me/Infinite Abundance. Man, I'm about to head out to nature, so much love, y'all. Peace.